All right, let's talk about Duck Dynasty. Why would Duck Dynasty do this? No, this is very sad, tragic to see. Horrible act of violence. This was Sunday church in Michigan. A Mormon church was this guy right here, this duck hunter, crashed his truck that had two big American flags into the side of this Mormon church, and then got out with a gun and started shooting people. Several dead. I haven't seen the final count. And then lights the whole thing ablaze, and then gets killed in a shootout. The link above. Thank you, Warren G. This is awful. Dude, that's not the one, dude. That's the song I'm looking for. This is perfect music for this. They're gonna clip me. Kenny G. He looks like he'd be Corey Mailer's brother. That's funny. Timu Corey Mailer. Anyway, as soon as this happened, the Christians were like, "We're so persecuted. Everybody hates us. We're the martyrs. The world hated Jesus." By George Michael. Okay, that's it. Please be it.
Victims
this is it.
have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims
Count Dankula,
have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grambling Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton.
How many died, did he say? I missed it. I heard 2, I think, was last. So Benny Johnson, who's on a huge Charlie Kirk revival tour, says, "Christians, this is happening to us. Christian churches are being violently targeted at an exponential rate. Christianity, is that even statistically true? Christianity is the most persecuted religion on earth." They're trying to out-Jew the Jews to see who could be hated the most. And that's how you know that it's true, is because people don't like you. Nothing else even comes close. Christianity is under attack. Time to get serious about it. 100,000 likes. The guy that attacked is a Christian that thought that the Mormons, it's a Mormon church, were Antichrist. The guy was a Christian. Persecution complex intensifies. Guys, some random person, even if it's a Muslim or a trans person, or a random attack on a church does not mean that Christianity is like systemically persecuted. You're discriminated against by the state. You can't get a job. You're fired because of your religion. You're not allowed to have a bank account because of your religion. You could argue maybe a better case that Christianity is persecuted where Christian views are censored online. Maybe you could say that, but like at the institutional level, in the political level, legally, the most persecuted on earth. Come on, they just love to be the victims, just like their elder brothers. You guys are vibing? Okay, we'll turn it off. But they're all doing it. Most hated ever. It's like, what are they trying to do? Empower the Judeo-Christians? Empower Trump's anti-Christian Zionist task force? 5 dead, the shooter, and 8 wounded. Well, thank God it wasn't more. Oh, are you awake? Baby woke up, sorry. This is the response to this shooting by this new Charlie Kirk replacement, who just exploded out of nowhere to 200,000 followers and is on Ben Shapiro's show. He's on Fox News. He's flying around in a jet doing college speaking tours. Listen to his answer.
Talking to each other.
to Christians being targeted, to pray more. Forgive, love your enemy, turn the other cheek, and pray.
Well, we don't have to live like this, Kevin, is what I want to be really clear. It was just a few weeks ago that horrible shooting happened at the church in Minneapolis. It was 2 weeks ago that the horrible stabbing happened in the light rail train in North Carolina. And now we have Charlie Kirk being assassinated. We don't have to accept political violence. We don't have to live in a country where this is normal. We can love each other. We can actually have conversations with each other. What we have to do is make America talk again. We have to be having civil discourse, champion on college campuses, just like Charlie did, by actually having a free exchange of ideas. You didn't see the right, after Charlie's assassination, go and burn down Wendy's and loot CVS's. We actually started talking to each other more. We got down on our knees and prayed. That is how we save this country going forward.
That is how you win. Hey, you're getting attacked. You're being murdered. Your places of worship are being targeted and attacked. Hey.
Not the way of the left with more violence.
I'm so glad you said that, because the contrast, Emily, could not be more stark. And it's such an important message, again, to get out to Gen Z, because you're not just the next generation of leaders.
That's the answer, guys. Pray. So evangelism. Get down on your knees. You're being attacked. Turn the other cheek. Get down on your knees and pray harder. Great strategy. Great strategy if you want to be exploited and seen as vulnerable and easily exploited by evil people. That's great. Yeah, they riot, we pray. That's the problem in a nutshell. And I'm not saying that chimping out is the answer. If white people were to just go chimp out, if it wasn't on a big enough stage, it would be disastrous. It would be like a Charlottesville or January 6th situation. But definitely don't get on your knees and pray as if that's doing anything. We're believing in the Jewish Messiah harder? What, supporting Israel more? That's going to save you? Sad to see. Oh, and by the way, so everybody, all the Christians were like, oh, we're so targeted. A lot of people were actually more upset that they were saying that that LDS Mormons are not Christian. People were more outraged that Mormons were being called Christian than that the Mormon church got attacked. That's a lot of what I saw on the internet. But turns out, if this is accurate, and it looks like it is, it checks out. This guy that attacked the church was former LDS and still a Christian. Saw an interesting meme. Maybe you guys saw it. It was like, it showed how the left has like a bunch of dots that are all really close together. There's less diversity of thought, and then the right is very spread out. So they don't have truth on the left, but they're at least on the same page more so than the right. I don't know if that was accurate, but yeah, he thought that the LDS were demons. This is what worries me. These Christ brain, these zealots and fanatics, they think like, oh, I'm going to go take them. That Antichrist, that Adam Green is turning people away from heaven. He's blaspheming Rabbi Yeshua. And then they want to do something like this. But here's the guy that supposedly claims to have talked to the shooter of this church.
Hello, everyone. I'm talking to Chris right now, and you contacted me a short time ago. Pretty distraught because actually, earlier today, you came to the realization that you say that you talked to the person who did this horrible thing in Grambling Township.
I did last week. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm running for city council and I'm canvassing, and I had an address on my map that I went to, and I came across a gentleman. He was very friendly, and he had interacted positively with me, and then we got out of the vehicle. We started just to talk, and after a short while, the conversation went to the Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormonism, and he just made the position multiple times that Mormons are the Antichrist, and he, in not so many terms, said that several times. He gave me his background, but you
see, when you're taught in a religion that anybody that doesn't believe in your Jewish rabbi, in the version of Jewish rabbi worship that you agree with, these people are taught like, oh, anybody that opposes us is an evil, satanic, Antichrist demon, and then it leads them to go do stuff like this. And all the Christians everywhere are talking about how persecuted they are, and they're the world's greatest victim, and the whole world hates them, and that's the proof that Jesus is real. Turns out it was a Christian that did the attack.
Walked away from a person who had some very sharp views about Mormons.
Yeah, so you were just out campaigning for the election in November coming up, I'm assuming?
That is correct.
And so you're just shaking hands, looking to meet people. You come across his door. Have you matched it up? Is it the address the same as this person? Have you looked?
It is, yes. I mean, it is not only the address, but it's also the person that I spoke with. I have a friend in Utah who is involved with the LDS church. I sent him a voice message saying I had a conversation with a person who had very sharp views. And it's just like, you come across a lot of different people while you campaign. Yeah. And I shared this with him on Friday. And then we had our Sunday dinner, and I ended up seeing a photo. That was the exact guy I spoke to last week.
So you saw the guy, and I'm not gonna, the shooter, you saw his picture on the news or on social media, and what was your first reaction?
Shock. I mean, to have just interacted with a person who, again, he had very sharp views. And when we first started speaking, very positive, we just made just general chit chat. And then he went to his background, how he was a Marine, he had served overseas. And again, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm just going from memory, but he, to start new, had moved out to Utah to plow snow. He then began a relationship with a woman who was in the LDS church. And then the conversation changed to tattoos, which he had a lot of, and how he had to have all his tattoos removed in order.
My first thought was that this guy, like the Mormon church, had his wife turn against him or abused his kid, or I thought it was going to be something personal. As soon as they showed the guy that he was a Duck Dynasty and his truck had he had the typical like MAGA guy truck where it's a big truck and has the 2 American flags. So my first thought would have been, oh, it's another transit copycat attack, or it's a Muslim. It was in Michigan. There's lots of Muslims in Michigan. I thought maybe that could be it. But nope, it turned out to be what I assume is a MAGA Christian that was fighting a crusade against the Antichrist LDS church.
And it was just a piece where I was very careful how I answered, because it's one of those things where I did not know what response was going to be acceptable to him. And so it was a case of like, I just wanted to get off the door and away from him.
So you just wanted to be nice and say, okay, have a nice day.
Exactly. And just try to do it the easiest way possible while kind of just walking, one step at a time. And again, when I first started, my daughter was with me. She was in the car because we're, driving from house to house. He was very nice. I mean, he was extremely nice. My daughter has special needs. She reached out to him. He held her hand. He was he talked about his child who had a serious medical concern and how just the care there. Yep. For whatever reason, the conversation shifted from chit chat into what are your thoughts about the Church of Latter-day Saints? And again, my cousin,
guy just had a weird vendetta for Jesus to take out the Antichrist Mormon church. Did this guy have social media? Where's this guy? Where's this Duck Dynasty guy's Facebook account? Where's his social media? Why did he hate the Mormons so much? It's really just because he thought they were Antichrist? Weird. Very weird.
About BYU. I have friends who... So I have a history with BYU in the Mormon church. You don't know what you're going to say that could potentially cause a reaction. So I kept my views to myself and walked away.
So at no time did you feel there wasn't any threatening or violence? It was just kind of you thought off the wall kind of.
Does that look like a truck exactly. A liberal would drive?
It wasn't like next week, this Sunday I'm going to do. It was more of a case of just views that were shared. And again, I mean, what I just walked away from was a person who was very animated and it mentioned that, for lack of a better term, that Mormons were the Antichrist.
Okay. And obviously troubling, but nothing that you would have need to alert police for anything.
No, I mean, not to say just in pop culture, but if you listen to enough YouTube, social media, like you hear different views on either side. And so it wasn't anything.
It's weird how seeing somebody go out and do something like this because they thought they were Antichrist. And I get called Antichrist like every day on the internet by psychos. It's not too comforting. He couldn't handle his Mormon God rejecting his tattoos. Dude, he found a Mormon girl and they got married and he had to remove all of his tattoos. That's why he's so mad. He had to burn off his hillbilly, his redneck hillbilly Duck Dynasty tattoos that he loves so much.
I would say was violent.
He probably had a bunch of Jesus tattoos.
Violence inducing, but just people of all stripes have very sharp views. And I was like, okay. And I just, again, I have a very indirect relationship with the Church of Latter-day Saints, and I just kept those views to myself and just very carefully walked away.
Okay, so and you are saying that you are 100% sure this is the same individual you talked to. Was it last week?
Yes, it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Dave, 1,000,000% I spoke with him. I can remember, where his house is. I had the conversation. Yes. Okay.
A lot of people want always to know in these horrible situations why someone does this. So in your mind, this maybe answers that question.
It has to be. I mean, there was very little political talk when we spoke, and it wasn't that. I mean, Dave, outside of just like, hey, how are you? How's the weather? It immediately shifted towards his thoughts on the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah. How you live in the community. How sad is this? Because I got the call this morning. I heard about it.
All right. We'll see if that turns out to be true. So here's the latest PSYOP now, okay? Look at this. And it's like there's so many things to criticize the ADL for, so many legitimate good reasons to have all of these big influencers. 500,000 followers. Look at this. 26,000 likes. Elon Musk says the ADL hates Christians, therefore it is a hate group. The ADL, in an article that's 8 years old, they said Christian identity is on their hate group list. Extremism, hate, or terrorism. And all of these big influencers, Alex Jones, Jack Posobiec, this congresswoman, which one is she? Paulina, the quartering, Eric Dougherty, what does he have? 600,000 followers, 62,000 likes. They're all sharing this as if the ADL hates, as if this article means that the ADL hates all white people. I'm sorry, Freudian slip. That is true. That they hate all Christian people, everybody that identifies as Christian. Our chat knows, because we talk about Christian identity people all the time. Christian identity is a specific sect that's not even real Christianity. They're the ones that think that white people are the real Israelites. They're the ones that are like the black Hebrew Israelites that are white. They shouldn't even be called Christian identity. They should be called white Hebrew Israelite identity. So this is completely out of context. And I wonder, is this still going to be a good thing? Does all these big influencers and Elon and all saying this, oh, they hate Christianity, is this going to actually result in anything good? Like, is ADL going to lose power or influence, or are all of the Christians going to turn against the ADL? Or does the ADL just have to go on MSNBC and CNN and Fox News and everywhere and just say, oh, it's a blood libel against us and Christian identity is a specific group, and they cropped out the article where it clearly says that. Christian identity is, here, I'll show you what it says. Alex Jones. Oh, yeah. Elon yesterday also retweeted Erica Kirk saying, go to church. Go to your Christian Zionist mega church like Charlie Kirk. Christian identity is a religious ideology popular in extreme right-wing circles. 11,000 likes for that one. Elon Musk. The ADL hates Christians. All of this rhetoric about Jews hate Jesus, Jews hate Christianity is a way to like reverse psychology, get everybody to follow Jesus. You want to oppose the Jews? Follow Jesus. You want to oppose the Jews? Believe in the Jewish Messiah harder. Believe in the God of Israel harder. That's the result that this is going to have. And the ADL is going to just go play victim, and they're lying, and this is a blood libel, and they're taking it out of context because they are. Because they are. That's just the fact. We have so many things to criticize the ADL for. And I hope that this results in more people turning against the ADL and doesn't backfire. But it just seems so sus to me. Everybody running with this at once. Nobody has the due diligence. All these big influencers don't have the due diligence to just Google what Christian identity means. Adherents believe that whites of European descent can be traced back to the lost tribes of Israel. Many consider Jews to be the satanic offsprings of Eve and the serpent, and non-whites are mud people, created before Adam and Eve, a virulently racist and anti-Semitic beliefs accompanied by anti-government sentiments. So, not by any means regular Christianity, as the ADL clarified in response and tweeted in response to this. This is low IQ anti-Semitism. This is, the Jews say that Christian anti-Semites are liars, and you're giving them a W by lying when you don't even have to. ADL distinguishes between Christianity as a major world religion and the Christian identity movements. Christian identity, they don't even look up Christian identity on Wikipedia and what it actually means. It's an interpretation of Christianity that says that only Celtic and Germanic and Anglo-Saxon and Nordic nations, that they believe Jesus was Aryan. That's not regular Christians. don't think that Christians, that Europeans are the true Israelites and Jesus was Aryan. You're talking about 0.00000 something percent of all Christians, and they're all running with this lie that the ADL hates all Christians. We was Hebrews is who they're talking about. Retard Finder, 21,000 likes. See what I'm saying? How the low IQ discrediting Christian anti-Semitism is what gets boosted and propped up, and all the big influencers spread it around. They do it on purpose to discredit. Well, we can only see how this is going to play out. Retard Finder. I think Elon promoted this too. Some new account that exploded to 800,000. Some Anon account that exploded to 800,000 followers. They say hours after the shooting at the church that was done by a Christian, they take this short quote of the ADL responding to everybody online talking about Christian identity. This wasn't in response to the church shooting. In fact, the ADL tweeted about the church shooting, condemning it, condemning violence against Christians. Stop handing the ADL, stop giving the Jews an excuse to play the victim and discredit their opposition as liars. The Christian identity movement is an anti-Semitic, racist, and unambiguously poisonous ideology. 24,000 likes. So again, they cut off the rest of the quote that says, no, they don't mean all Christians. They don't mean regular Christians. You see how these lies get propped up? But I will note, it is a joke how the ADL's definition was only white people can be racist. They had, because they're a leftist Jewish group, they had Turning Point and Charlie Kirk labeled as extremist. What is the other big one? They have America First as extremist. They have Turning Point was extremist. Like, I want ADL to have zero power. I want them to be abolished, sent back to Israel, whatever, in prison for violating First Amendment free speech. I want them destroyed, but I just don't have the confidence that lies like this are going to get it done. I think this is going to empower them more. What do you guys think in the comments, in the chat? Is this little out of context psyop that they're running going to have a positive benefit, or is it going to backfire and play more into this, the blood libels, the rise in anti-Semitism in Edom? Because it's so easy to check and see that this is out of context and a bad faith attack. What do you guys think? How is this going to play out? Alex Jones was like, the truth cannot be stopped. He said something like that. As they're spreading an out of context lie, Alex Jones says the truth cannot be stopped. Alex Jones. I want to try to find that. Why has Trump done a 180 on Russia? Gaza peace deal. He's already posted so much stuff. I thought I had it up. The truth cannot be stopped. Not one of these people thought to check what Christian identity was. They thought that the ADL would be dumb enough to condemn and call all Christians hateful. The number one supporter, they're trying to piss off their number one supporters of Israel around the world by labeling all Christians as hate. There it is. The truth cannot be stopped. Stoped. As he's lying, 9,000 likes. Claiming that this is proof that the ADL hates all Christians is sus. It's sus to me. They're all pushing this. We'll see. We'll see 5 years from now. We'll see 10 years from now how all of this transpires. Only time can tell how these tactics, these tactics which only serve to boost people believing in Christianity. All of this talk, all of this fighting over who the Messiah is and who killed Jesus and all of this, it's just so Jewish. The whole thing is Jewish infighting.